Howdy, howdy, hey. Welcome back. Welcome back to ABTG, the only place on the internet where we rate films from absolute bullshit to true greatness. It is the one true rating. It is the only one that counts. Joining us today is the wonderful Starfleet boy. Thank you so much for coming.
Sky person. I'm a
Thank
sky
you.
person.
Thank you so. I'm a better Sky person than you.
I see you. I see you.
I don't want to be a mean Sky person that blows things up. Or kills indigenous species. I want to be a good Sky person. Yeah. Oh my god, I'm spitting and everything.
or like the tongue. What the water people go.
Yeah. Today we're talking about Avatar: The Way of the Water. Here it is. We finally got the sequel. A million years and a half later.
Yeah. How many years exactly is it, Sean?
2009 was the original.
Oh my god.
So that's a way away, right? That's
13.
a long
What is that?
time.
14 years. 13
Something
or 14
like that.
years.
It's yeah. So anyway, we're gonna talk about that. We're also going to I guess we're going to address the film, its sequels. We're going to talk about the previous one. We're also going to address our previous discussion on this topic because I feel like it must be addressed.
It must be addressed.
And I'll open with my little statement that you want me to open with. It must be pretty bizarre being Sam Worthington, the hero of such films that the first one is the highest grossing film of all time, but no one knows who you are.
I didn't want you to open with that. I wanted you to like casually put it in at some point, but I guess that's.
I gotta drop it now.
Yeah, yeah. We were remarking that the Avatar films are the highest grossing. Well, how's this one doing, by the way? I haven't checked the
I don't know
or anything like that.
It did 450 million on the first weekend.
What?
But apparently that's less than Endgame.
Oh wow, 450 million on the first weekend.
Seems like a lot to me. I feel like that's
James
a lot
Cameron
of money
truly did not.
Weekend.
Yeah. James Cameron truly did not disappoint, I guess. Like, because that's a lot. Yeah, that's a shitload of money. I mean, I guess it's not like more than Endgame, I guess. But what did Endgame do? Like $5 more or something like that?
I don't know. All I read is that it wasn't enough to beat Endgame in its like opening weekend. But I'm like,
oh yeah.
To be fair, Endgame had a lot of like hype. There was the hype train just like pushing it. You know what I mean?
The opening weekend for Endgame is gonna be hard to topple though. It's 650 million apparently.
Yeah. Okay. So so we won't have a new record for that in
Dang.
I would even go as far as saying like none of the next Avengers movies will beat Endgame.
I think Endgame just built up so high. 435 million. Let's exclude Endgame and just say that that's a pretty awesome opening. Congratulations to Avatar: The Way of Water. Yeah.
Congratulations, Avatar: The Way of Water. Congratulations, James Cameron. I'm sure he's going to watch this eventually, when he finds the time. Surely a very busy man with his 9-hour cuts of Avatar 3 here. You want to open? You want to tell me what you think about it? What's going on?
Yeah, I like the first Avatar movie a lot. And it was when I remember I like played the soundtrack like crazy all the time. It was just like very good. It was a solid film, but it was also very new in the sense that like we hadn't seen 3D done quite this way or CGI done quite this way. I mean, it was like a big leap forward. That being said, so I was like, like being very aware of like cinema and like talking about movies like Endgame and how CG's developed and things like that. I was like, what could James Cameron do that's gonna be or feel new or or feel like innovative in this time? And then also I was like, what other like now I'm like it's 9 years. I mean, sorry, it's like 13 years later. I kind of don't even care what happens on Pandora. Like, like it's like it's like
that's a reflection of our previous discussion, kind of like how we were feeling.
I just want to set up that. So I went in with very low kind of expectations, like which is rare for Starfleet Boy. Like I went in like with almost like no. Usually I'm like, this is gonna be the greatest movie ever. Like when I go to the movies, especially nowadays when I actually go to the cinema, it's to see a movie that I think I'm gonna like. You know, I rarely like, whereas before I would only go to a film if I didn't think so. But James Cameron deserves his flowers, as our friend Braxton likes to say. So I went in and saw it, and I have to admit, I was like totally blown away by the experience. Like it was I had trouble, like I know it's not real, but I had trouble like acknowledging that this is no, I wanted it. It was so good that I wanted
Yes.
it to be real. I was like, this is insane. Like we're on another planet. Like they're using the James Webb telescope. I
He
think
took his film crew and he
like,
went to
he's
some
like,
other
yes.
planet, and he's like, "Yo, let's film this."
This illness is what it feels like. So on that level, it's great. And then I was very surprised at how much the story moved me. Like I thought it was a great, you know, we haven't just been sitting around. They haven't been sitting around for 13 years. Jake had a freaking family. There's like children of all different ages.
This is full spoilers, by the way. You can
Oh yeah,
go into it.
Oh
Don't worry
yeah. I
about it.
figured I did. You don't have the little banner, by the way. The spoiler
Well, I'm the
banner
banner.
on there.
If you see my face, assume there's spoilers.
Okay, fine. But you know, Jake has this family, and then you're like, wow, like oh hey Ruben, what's up? You're like oh yeah, like look at this. Everything's been really nice for like the last 13 years, but then the sky people arrive, which we knew was going to happen. I guess it just happened, like, and that's actually really realistic because they're so far away. I remember something about the first movie where you had to go into cryo sleep or something to get to Pandora, like it was so far away or something like that. It was like years of travel. Anyways, the sky people arrive, and rather than go against them in another fight, because this time like homeboys can't win, because did you see when they arrived, they just like, they're like, oh, let's just burn the area that we want to build our city in, and they completely burn away this circular.
I disagree with the actions, though I commend I think it's genius to just burn acres and then just like they make it a wasteland and then just land there. It's a brilliant idea. It's dreadful and terrible, and I hate them for it, but it's actually very creative.
And their technology's improved. This time they're here, it looks like, to transform Pandora into a hospitable environment for Earthlings, and more are coming. So actually I'm kind of like, I don't know where these Pandora movies are going, but it doesn't look like it.
Okay, we're gonna get into that.
Yeah, after. We'll get into it later. Yeah,
it
doesn't look like it's gonna be a happy. We'll see. But anyways, so we get the sky people arrive, and we get the twist that what was the bad guy's name? Courage.
General American Face.
So General American Face, it has had a snapshot taken of his brainwaves, like before he went on his final mission. So they resurrected him as a kind of as a Na'vi, actually, right? Like as a, not a Na'vi, but a Pandoran, I guess is what you would call them, because there's different.
As an avatar.
As an avatar, thank you. But like he's permanently in it. He's not in a, you know what I mean?
It's
like
no longer
he
an
is.
avatar. Like
it's like what Jake is now. Like
they lab grew a Na'vi body and dumped his mind
into it. So anyways, so he's after Jake. So the whole thing is really a personal thing where they're trying to take out Jake because they think he's the key to the insurgency from the Pandorans, from the you know, because so they're like, oh, if we take him out, they'll just comply. There's no one else, you know, who knows our tactics, our way. He's like, you know, giving away all of our stuff. And it's true when you see, there's a brilliant scene where you see that they're using the same terminology. The Na'vi are using the same terminology as the military people are, like, what's your traffic and blah, blah, blah. And like, you know, all these things. So yeah, Jake's totally upgraded the Na'vi to be badass, like Marines basically. But anyways, Jake's like, no, I can't deal with this after his family nearly get kidnapped by the general, and actually Spider, who's like this poser kid, but I like him. I didn't think I was gonna like him. Anyways, Spider's this poser kid.
Interesting a character.
He's a very interesting character who's the son of the general, apparently. so that puts another twist on it. So the movie's just filled with like these surprising little twists and story details. Anyways, not to be too much of a summary here, but the movie ends with some tragedy, but also some hope, which is really cool. And I'm actually interested in seeing part 3. Like I was like, oh, you know what? I'll take those other sequels. Like, let's go, Avatar. I just don't want to wait like another 13 years.
Okay,
for
I'll give you my kind of like opening statement here, my general sentiments on it, and then we can really jump into this. So going into this, I'm unlike you. I didn't really care for Avatar, the first one. Looking back at it now, I think I've grown up enough and I have a better understanding of like the world of theater and cinema. And so I can better appreciate the kind of like landmark or the technological statement that was the first Avatar. I have always said that it is the only film that I have ever appreciated in 3D. No movie is good in 3D except for Avatar, the first. It is wonderful and it was done to perfection. And so in a lot of ways, I respected kind of like the technological aspect of it. It's just that story-wise, I was never really engaged with it. I don't really care for like tree people. I'm not that big of a fan of like it's a very kind of like done before story where like the we'll say white colonialists come in and they take over the land of like the indigenous people. Not to say that there aren't moving story beats and some passionate things going on in the first one. It's just it's never a movie that really engaged me. So coming into the second one, I'm like, do we need it? I don't really care. And I was like, if James Cameron here wants to make Avatar something as kind of like culturally relevant and as influential as Star Trek or say Star Wars, which is kind of like where he's coming at, I'm like, he's got to leave this Pandora place. He's got to do something else. And then coming out of this film, I'm like, no, I understand now. He has a vision that I can see now. All right. Earth is dying. Okay. It's a hellhole. People are paying big money to be like undying.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And everyone wants to leave and come to Pandora because they've explored out there and there aren't that many other planets that are worth going to. And this one is. And I'm like, okay, this is what it's leading to. There was a battle here and it's about this planet. And I can see that. I appreciate the vision. Now, this film, I actually liked it. Honestly, the plot is very thin. There's almost like the plot is just an excuse to have the movie look good. It's barely enough to hold this thing together. It is definitely not a 3-hour plot. It's more like a 30-minute one. But visually speaking, I think, and just like the way that the film transports you into this other world, I think is truly the accomplishment of it. It's an art piece. It's something to be experienced more than just a film to be watched. And yeah,
that's
technologically
that's a good
speaking,
way to put it. It is an art film. It's odd.
It's very hipster.
Well, it's odd to think of a movie that costs so much to make as an art film. Just because it's like, oh, okay, well,
But like, every single frame of this thing is like crafted and designed. Like nothing is random. Everything is beautifully assembled. And just like you, I was going in like how far has CG come? And it's come to a point, I guess, where I would say 90% of what's going on screen, I couldn't tell you if they filmed the water or if it's a sim. I don't know.
Yeah, like
no when there's a big ass alien, a whale, I'm like, yeah, okay, that's CG. I can see that.
But even then,
sometimes they're just filming stuff. You're like, did they paint that face blue? I don't know. That's at some point I was looking at the humans in the background and I was like, I think the humans are CG now. I don't even think the humans are real.
The humans are real anymore.
I don't know. Not a lot of films make me think I don't know. And I don't know. And you know what happened? The original Avatar, when it came out, you could still tell, but it looked really good. Yeah. And then it had it had what I call the Avatar effect, where everyone then wanted to do the same thing. You know, Alice in Wonderland, everyone did the same thing as Avatar, but they couldn't have CG as good, so it'll look like shit.
Yeah.
And then I feel like this is gonna happen again. Everyone's gonna do like the Avatar. Everyone's gonna have the Avatar effect, but you guys aren't. You're not quite there. You don't have that. I don't know that James Cameron delivery on it. I don't know how much.
Because I mean, this guy, like, I don't know, I think Digital Domain, I would imagine, did the effects because that's his company, right? Digital Domain.
I saw Weta's involvement too.
Oh,
I think
Weta was involved. Yeah.
I'm assuming a lot of like, because they
Of
all of these VFX houses have like their own specialties. Some of them, you know, are good with like water simulations. Some are good with like, I don't know, like I suppose like characters, and so yeah, a lot of visual effects departments and companies were involved.
They made what was the name of the whale? The main whale, the bad guy whale, who was not really a bad guy.
Well, the Outcast.
The Outcast whale.
That's what you want.
They made that whale. Sometimes I couldn't tell if it was a prosthetic, like when its head was out of the water.
Yeah, sometimes
or if it was, or if it's just still CG. Because I'm like, why would you create a prosthetic to interact with a CG character? Like there was like when
that's the thing, right?
Yeah,
it's like often you're like, okay, so they filmed that, and you're like, but why would they film it? Why would you go through the trouble of filming that and then trying to integrate that plate into like all of this? Just CG the whole thing, right?
Which is what I think they did. I think it is CG. I don't know. I can't wait to see the behind.
I don't know.
I don't know. Exactly. I don't know. We don't know.
If they actually told me, no, we flew a ship out, we found a planet, we filmed it, I would probably believe them at this point. I'd be like, yeah, okay.
You say the plot was thin and it was only like 30 minutes. I think that's a little hyperbolic, but I do think
the plots. Okay, let me finish on this. I prefer the second one to the first one.
Right, the film. Me too. I like the second film. Yeah.
There are objective reasons and there are subjective reasons. The objective reasons are, I do think that the plot was more engaging in this second one, even though it was thin. I do think it was more engaging. I think it was a lot more personal and a lot more like character driven.
Do you need the first movie to enjoy this movie?
I do think it helps. Yes.
Okay.
I do think so. I think that visually speaking, this movie was a lot better. Artistically speaking, I think it was a lot better. I think that in all of like the color choices and you know the vibrant colors that we have going on, I think that they make more sense within the coral reefs than within the forests. And then also on a very subjective level, and this is just like personal sentiment, I come from New Zealand. Even though I am not, you know, I'm not Islander, I'm not a Maori, I'm not from the Pacific Islands. I am white from New Zealand, but like that's part of my culture. I have seen that like the Pacific heritage be around me all the time. That's why Moana is probably my favorite animated movie. And so like just seeing this, hearing Cliff Curtis, like I knew it was him the moment he spoke, but like seeing all of the like Polynesian and Pacific kind of like influences going into this culture, it just connected with me on a way that Tree people don't. You know what I mean? So that's and then also I'm just generally speaking more attracted to the sea and to like the heart of the sea and the song of the ocean than I am to like the vibrancy of the trees. It's just something that
the song of the ocean. I'm attracted. I hear the song of the ocean.
Don't make fun. I like the water more than I like the trees. All right. Although I'm not sure about their tails. Okay, I don't know about the water people tails.
That's pretty funny.
Thank you.
Oh wow, long time.
That's what wife said. So I have to keep it now.
I shaved. It's like we can never be the same. Isn't that weird? Like
we both enjoyed this movie.
Yeah, I know, but we can never have the same. I shaved my beard. That's so funny.
You're
and now everyone thinks
you're the data to my Riker.
I am.
But then we flip. Sometimes we flip, and I'm the data to your Riker.
Yes. So the Song of the Sea was very compelling to you. And so I
Yes.
wondered if I had forgotten completely that there's a huge aspect of native New Zealand culture that has to do with like Pacific Island type lifestyle. I mean, it's a giant island. You guys have that wonderful reef and everything. So yeah, it makes sense that it would
Well, the
like
reef
be
is
like
more an
this. Yeah.
Australian thing, but like just the Polynesian
Well,
people.
yeah,
The Polynesian people, you know, they were travelers. They would travel from island to island, and New Zealand was one of the biggest islands, and so they would travel there. And of course, from my understanding, um, just a lot of people kind of set up camp and started living in New Zealand, and that became what is now known as the Maori people, right?
yeah.
Um,
That's interesting. In this movie, we got
there was
introduced
almost like
to
a haka at some point.
yeah.
Almost. They kind of did like movements that kind of resembled it.
When they were all riled up about the whole thing. Yeah,
Yes.
that was great. You're right. That did feel like that. So what did you think of, so obviously you like these water people
Oh
and
yeah.
the way of water spoke to your heart more.
Yes.
I thought it was interesting I thought it was interesting and cool and worked really well that we got introduced to another sapient species on Pandora, but not just sapient, like they have a culture, like they had like, you know, poet, like the space whale that, you know, the Pandora whale that died, that was killed with the calf, which by the way, if you didn't hate sky people already or the human characters in this movie, that scene is
There are two scenes. Okay.
yeah,
There's
yeah,
the killing of the whale, and there's the burning of the forest with the arrival of the sky people. And it's
right, but
like
yeah,
the heart wrenchingness of it. You're like, oh my god.
yeah,
Dreadful
yeah.
sky people.
Thank God for Jermaine Clements, because otherwise that scene would have been a total like downer. Like,
I was so happy to
did you
see
not
him.
notice him? Right?
I was so happy.
So happy, me too.
The moment
I was
I
like,
gotta say,
Homeboy's like
yo,
got the weirdest
Jermaine,
part.
Jermaine, bruh, what were you doing with the accent? Were you trying to keep it like American, but then kind of deviating back into New Zealand, or
You
were
can
you just like,
never.
fuck
It's
it?
like
You
you.
don't
He has a
like, I
shit
don't,
accent. It's like
I know,
like you
but
has a
he
shit
didn't.
accent.
No, he can. I don't know what he was doing there. Was this a James Cameron ask, perhaps?
Maybe, I don't know.
Carry on.
But anyways, it was good to see him in that scene because he's the only thing that kind of lightened it up, because otherwise it was very freaking heavy, and I was
Oh,
just like, oh my
it
gosh,
was
yeah.
just dreadful.
But like also the reaction, Kate Winslet's
I was gonna call Peter.
Kate Kate Winslet, who plays the Natiri of that tribe, like she's actually like the shaman. Natiri's not a shaman, she's more like a leader, but
Hmm.
right, is that her name, Natiri? Jake's wife?
I pulled up the cast, like all the names. Yes, Natiri.
Natiri, see. Okay, so yeah, and then Kiri was the daughter.
Yes.
Quaritch is Stephen Lang's character, and then
Yes.
Ronal is Kate Winslet's character. Yeah, so Kate Winslet, kudos to her, because I had no idea that was like, there's no telling that that's Kate Winslet, but that performance when the carcass, oh my god, it's just like it's so heavy, like the carcass of the whale,
yeah.
and her reaction to
Oh
it,
my
and just
God.
like I really felt it, and I was like, oh man, this is like really good performance. I wonder what it looks like in mocap view, like where she's got all the dots on her,
Yeah,
like
so
everything, like
it's interesting you say that, because I find that there are specific performances that are very, very compelling, like that like horrifying moment in the performance. But I do feel like in the more, I'm gonna say, you know, less emotional moments and the more like general moments, I feel like the performances are kind of toned down, and they're not as engaging as like when you have an actual actor that's being filmed. And I think that there's kind of like a filtering effect that's going on here with, like, you know, because you have the actor, the performing in mocap, and then you have all the CG thing going on. And I feel like somehow we're not quite there yet. We're not capturing the exact performance that the actor has, because I got nothing but love for Zoe Saldana. I think she's a better actor than what we got to see on screen here.
I don't think that's the case. I think she's a great actor, and I think we got to see hints of it. I think something was up, like they cut something out or something, because her character was pretty one note in this, where she has a lot more depth in the first movie. So you're right that there was definitely something happened. Like, I don't know. Like, I feel like there
Okay.
should have
You
been
think
more.
4 hours were cut from the movie? You think that's maybe what
I
happened?
bet there's like a 9-hour cut of this movie, but where you have a whole 2 hours just for Neytiri dealing with her shit. I just felt like she was the scenes that they presented to us were all of her kind of like being. I feel like both she and Jake, and maybe this is on purpose, kind of like were like kind of backseated to the kids
Yes.
in a way.
Yes.
You know, like
That's
yeah,
why I thought that Jake would die.
right.
I went in assuming that they were going to kill him.
Yeah, that's interesting. No, but I mean, definitely they took a backseat to the kid characters, and it worked because like Sigourney Weaver's character is awesome. Like I loved her
Mm.
character. I keep saying what's his name? The youngest kid. I think his name was Loak. I'm sorry to Britton Dalton. The whole time I thought, oh, they cast Timothy Chalamet in this because Loak reminded me of Timothy Chalamet. So great job, great job. But I actually
Great
was
job
like,
at reminding us of Timothy Chalamet. Is that it?
yeah. The other thing I found like kind of strange was like the use of like anachronistic or current slang, and I wonder what you thought of the whole bro kind of thing. Like it was
Are you
weird
talking within
because
the Navi or within just like
yeah,
everyone?
like Jake's kids, they all say like stuff that modern kids would say, like bro, or like, you know, like it just felt like bro came up a
Okay,
lot, and I
so
just felt like I thought that was like interesting, but maybe it's true. Like maybe if you're listening to, if you know, like if you learn the Navi language, maybe the direct translation of what they're saying is bro, because that's supposedly what we're seeing is like a
perhaps
translated
it
version.
is, but
Yeah.
I took it in a like I went in a much more like kind of like a liberal way. There's a whole scene in the beginning where our hero there, Jake, says, I speak the language and I understand it as if it were English. And then it
Right.
transitions into all of the Navi speaking English. And so I was like, okay, this is how he's understanding it.
Oh yeah,
So
and
I
he totally says bro and stuff like that. So yeah, he
so
could
for
be. Yeah.
me, this was what we were experiencing as like the English version of Navi was his interpretation of it. That's how I
Right.
felt it. I don't
Yeah,
think
it totally
I don't
feels like
think they're like running around like Brad the Lees, yo. Like I don't I don't
but
think
that's
that's what
totally
the
how
Navi.
Jake does talk like that. So now I can that kind of makes that clearer because it's true. It's
Whilst we're on the topic of language, I have a complaint.
oh
The kids and everyone are American, and then when the boys grow up, they no longer are American, and they have some different accent. And I don't understand why they did that. I don't understand why they changed
yeah,
the
the
accent.
accents I feel like we're all over the place. I feel like if you're gonna do Pandora, this is something that like Star Wars does. It's like, oh, we're just gonna put like regular Earth accents all over
Yeah,
the galaxy. Star Trek does it too, but they're like more standard. Like people in Star Trek tend to not speak in an accent. There's like more of a kind of a plain accent, if you will, like a plain
the
Earth accent.
but
Um,
like
but I guess you're
the
gonna run into that no
the
matter
two
what.
boys had like Caribbean accents when they grew up, and I was like, why though? Because
I don't
their
think they
parents
had.
their
I
parents
don't
had
think.
American accents. They had the kid. There's literally a scene at the end where you see like the kid is young. He's in that pool. He fished his fish there. He speared his fish. There's like he's talking with a Caribbean accent, and then it cuts to him younger, and it goes back to his like American accent, and then it cuts back to him older, and he's got the Caribbean accent again. I'm like, why? Why are we like the kid grew up with like, the same environment with the same parents? He didn't get shifted off to like, you know what I mean? So I found it weird.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have insisted. Um, I mean, especially looking at these kids, they look pretty white, but like I wouldn't have ventured into like varying accents. I would have just said like everyone speak how you speak, and that's fine. You know what I mean?
Well, first of all, just because you're white doesn't mean you can't have a Caribbean accent. You
No,
could grow up in
absolutely.
the Caribbean
Oh,
and actually have
absolutely.
a native accent. But that aside, it is interesting. You're absolutely right that there's an inconsistency in the film with accents. That's true.
It is
Like
a bizarre
I
complaint. I
noticed
will
it. Yeah, I
concede.
noticed it too. Yeah, Jermaine Clement does it. Everyone. I think there's like a thing like in the movie where they were just like, oh,
The
we
way
can't
of
make
the
this.
way of the accent.
Yeah, they were like, we can't make this movie like perfect, so we've got to do
Oh yeah, we gotta
something for
just we
Sean
gotta
to
do something.
complain about. Like, it
Yeah.
can't just it can't like have anything. But
James Cameron was like, no, he's gonna like that. He's gonna like this. We gotta find something
yes,
that he doesn't like, right?
definitely the performances sometimes were stronger with the accents. Like, I think where it was most notable was definitely the actors like Kate that we know, right? Like Kate Winslet changed her accent a couple
Mm.
times, I think. And Zoe Saldana's character didn't say much, so she was like consistently just
Like
she was just consistently like hissing throughout the
Sigourney
and
Weaver.
mad.
See,
She was just
Sigourney
mad.
Weaver didn't do like there were
An
no
accent
kind of
at
like
all. Like she
there were
just
no
did.
accents.
Yeah, she
I
just did
think
her
Sigourney
Sigourney Weaver
I
voice.
think Sigourney Weaver, I think perhaps we would have to talk to her to know, but I feel like maybe she put in a little effort to like kind of pitch her voice up and make it sound a little younger. Maybe it was manipulated somehow, but I felt like she was younger, or perhaps it's just my brain playing tricks on me because the character was so young to look at. You know what I mean?
It's funny, I
But you
had the
could,
opposite experience
oh,
where I
really?
just heard Sigourney
Sigourney Weaver.
Weaver. Like
Oh
I
no,
heard her
you
and
can
like
absolutely tell it's her
but I didn't
100%.
hear the pitching up I just was like,
Okay.
"Oh, they're just deciding." I was like, "Oh, they're just deciding to do Sigourney Weaver as is." Like it doesn't like there's no difference.
You're your
Like
own kid now.
here
Go.
there was a funny thing on
That those two characters, by the way, uh, Tarzan, what's his name? Um, Spider,
oh, Spider,
uh,
yeah.
Spider, and
Tarzan.
Sigourney,
Tarzan.
Spider, Tarzan, and Sigourney
Don't you
Weaver.
mean Mowgli? He's more like a Mowgli than
I
a
said
little
Mowgli
Tarzan.
during the movie. I said
You
Mowgli,
did.
Tarzan, and George of the Jungle. Those are the three that I said during my viewing. That's where I go to.
That's the inspiration. He's all of those.
He is. He's the, and Sigourney Weaver's character, which was I forget the name. What was she called? Kiri.
Sigourney Weaver,
Those were
Kiri,
my
and
two. Those were my
Kiri and
two
Spider held
characters.
the movie. They
Yeah, I
held the
think
movie. Like
they
I feel
carried
like
that
they
shit,
really
yo.
they did. Like through their stories, we got to see the whole
Both
picture, basically.
sides, I
Sides.
guess.
Yeah,
But no,
yeah.
yeah, I mean both. Yeah, both in total. I mean, yeah, like you say, we got to see both sides of the picture.
All right,
Though you can't really pick a side here.
Spider saving his dad. Absolute bullshit or true greatness?
Yeah, that was interesting. See, I was not upset about him saving his father. I was upset about the fact that no one in our family were worried about the dude. Like Spider's not on the walk with
No, he
y'all.
said, yeah, they were worried,
No, they were
Jake
just like
says,
we saved each other.
remember,
Ha
no,
ha. Where's the...
Natiri was going nuts. Remember, she was like, and then Jake says Spider can take care of himself.
Okay, fine. I'll retract the statement then.
Yeah,
No,
yeah, there
I
was like
think
a huff and puff about it.
it did feel a bit of like an obvious way to set up the next film, right? Like that's clearly what's happening here.
I
But
appreciated the
on the flip
hesitation.
side,
Oh, sorry. I just want to say one more note. Later, they
yeah,
do hesitate, like when they're like, "Oh, we got to get Spider." The boys are like, "Ah," like they're like, "Do we really have to?" Remember on the wreck when they go to save him? I do appreciate the hesitation because it's true. Like when it comes down to it, it's like, oh well, Spider's just been hanging around. He's not really a member of the family.
that's
But they did the right thing.
that's very
But they did the right
disrespectful.
thing.
No, I think the hesitation is more about like
Are we gonna die?
no, but did he choose? Did he choose the other camp,
Oh
right?
yeah, and there's that whole thing
Because
which
he's with the other camp
right,
throughout the whole voyage, right?
right.
Which enables us, the audience, to see what's going on. Like, you know what I mean? But no, I think it was good that he saved the guy. I think it shows how pure and how good-hearted he is. You know what I mean?
Right, it is the honorable Spider was really impressive to me as a character because there were so many temptations for his character to turn or switch sides, if you will, and Homeboy held true to the Na'vi way and like
Yeah.
to his tribes, and even that save is something honorable that he would be respected for doing if he had to like fess up for it, because they would be like, he'd be like, yo, you were gonna stab me through the heart, Zoe Saldana, but this guy was like, all right, don't do it. Like, that's meaningful. Like, you know, this whole time. Plus, that was another genius bit about the story, is that I loved that Spider grew up wanting to be a Pandoran, like a Na'vi, and like emulated them, and like it's a little cringe sometimes by our standards, you know, like him painting himself to look like the Na'vi, but also it's also kind of necessary, I guess. The animals have to like think he's a Na'vi as close as possible and stuff like that. Otherwise, the planet will probably kill him. You know, he's got to smell like.
I do
Na'vi.
agree, it's a little cringe, but you also look at this. It's not like you or me. We're born here, we go over, and then all of a sudden we
right.
are like,
He was,
I want to be
raised,
a tree. It's
right,
like
he was raised in the
born
trees,
into this,
true.
and he was also put in a very difficult situation where it's like,
I love that line where he's like, you can't put infants in in cryo, you dick, or you dipshit, or something like that. He says to the general. But anyways, so he's that. But then here he is faced with the resurrected his resurrected dead father, who has his dream come true. Like who is a tree person.
oh yeah, oh my god,
like, you didn't even think about that, right?
Think of that. Oh my god, like the irony. Or the irony what is it? I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I guess it is irony, or like, yeah.
Like your dream is to be Na'vi, and then this dipshit, you know, that doesn't understand how cryo chambers work. He's living your dream. Oh, and he's bastardizing it too. He's
totally not appreciating it.
Damaging the mad shout out, by the way. All right, to this military squad. That, you know, they didn't just get huge like uniforms to go with their Na'vi sizes. They also decided to get a big ass watch, and the other dude needed his blue cool sunglasses. Like, design me and give me a grown version of those, please, so I can put that on my face. I gotta look cool even if I'm a Na'vi. Yo. Like, what the hell? It's such a waste of resources. I guess it's just sunglasses. It's fine.
But yeah, Spider's story was very compelling, surprisingly compelling to me, and also, yeah, just the payoff of his character's decisions was like, you know, exactly kind of like.
So
I was torn. I was like, oh, he's gonna switch.
They can go two directions with this. They can go the very obvious direction, whereas he saved the father, and so the father, he saved the general, and so the general's gonna come back. You know what I mean? And he's gonna be the bad guy again. Or they could pull a twist. And the dude has a change of heart because he wants to be with his son. And so he ends up taking the side of the Na'vi to be with his son.
It might be neat if he... it might be really neat if... because he's the only one left, I feel like, right? Like all the other...
Yeah, all the others got like severely deceased.
Like deceased. Yeah, it's true.
By Neytiri there.
It'd be really interesting.
It was nuts.
If father doesn't go back to base because he's like totally disgraced, right? And ends up in the hands of the tree people, and they nurse him back to health. And then, like, you know, because now they're the way of the water. Jake and his family are in the way of the water. So later, when it all goes down, you get the tree people, and then all of a sudden there's father, like, as a tree person.
So
like,
I have a question for you. This is stupid, but I have a question. We have seen the people of the trees, and we have seen the people of the water. Are there also the people of the sand, and the people of the snow, and the people of the swamps?
Oh yeah, 100%.
And is that where this is going?
Yeah,
this is where it's going. Basically,
no, I don't know if we'll see all those people, but for sure, there's other people on Pandora.
You don't think this is leading toward all of the people of Pandora, all of these tribes and cultures that are
like uniting?
They unite against the threat of the evil sky people.
I do think that's
I want
something
to see
that could
the
happen,
people of
and I wouldn't
be and the people of the snow so much.
I wouldn't
people
be
of the
opposed.
Swamps. I don't know.
I wouldn't be opposed to it. Like, I think that's a great idea. However, I have this weird feeling that the Avatar series will end darkly. I don't think the humans will lose.
Dear
I
God.
think I think we're gonna see the Na'vi or the Pandorans having to yield their planet to the humans, and maybe some of them leave Pandora to go colonize another world. I don't know. I just don't see how,
Do you think we will
like,
see Earth? We have to address this. I want to
yes.
see Earth.
I almost don't want
I
to
am
because I don't want.
so intrigued now.
What year
It,
does this take place, by the way? Do we know a
God,
year?
who
Like,
knows?
let me just
I
see.
am so intrigued. The planet is dying. People are injecting themselves with yellow liquid in order to stay young forever. It's like this dystopian place it must be
Way
some
of,
sort of. I see it as a cross between like Warhammer 40K and Altered Carbon.
oh yeah.
I don't know. I'm really intrigued.
So we're gonna get 5 Avatar films, right?
I mean, if this one breaks even,
What did this one cost? I can't imagine.
this one needs to make 2 billion to break even, apparently.
Oh my
Which I
god.
mean, you're not there yet, bro. It's only been a weekend, so I might go and see it a second time if
Yeah, my mom's already requested.
I want to see the sequels to this. Just make them less expensive or something. But I guess you can't. You have like a
How could
standard now.
you?
You have
That's
like a
crazy.
stand. It
And
has to
now
look
James
better,
Cameron
right?
wants to do something which I think is totally actually genius after watching this movie. Like, I think it's like the legit way to make a movie is he wants to make it as if he filmed everything and then he cuts it. So scenes are going to have special effects that are never seen.
There is this isn't even part of the movie. All right. At the end, after like the credits, or just before that, while the credits are rolling, there's like I think it's a sunset with a whale that jumps, right? Like an alien whale that you remember that moment, right?
Yes.
That's like 4 to 5 seconds, maybe 4 seconds. It's full CG. How much did that cost? Like 500,000?
Probably it's a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right. I'm
it's
assuming
very
it's
the
I'm
level of
assuming a
CGI that's in
100,000
this
per minute,
movie.
right?
It feels like they're doing it frame by frame, the way that it's so pretty.
It's a
It's like, but I know they're
useless
not,
bloody
but that's
scene. They put it
like.
for the credits. Or maybe they'd spent so much money on it and they ended up not putting it in the movie. They're like, we gotta put it somewhere. Let's
But
just put it
supposedly
somewhere.
Avatar 3 is already in the can, right? It's already being filmed, or it's been filmed, or
Is it really?
didn't you send me a thing that said Avatar 3 is filming in my
No,
DMs like a while ago?
James Cameron presented a 9-hour cut to Disney. And
No,
and
it
and
says
so,
Culture Crave said James Cameron says Avatar 4 is now filming.
oh my God.
That was on September 10th. So 3 is done.
They on a roll, yo.
Yeah, they're done. You sure the 2 billion is not all of these movies put together?
No, I read somewhere that he has to make this like the second one, it has to be the highest grossing film of all time just to break even.
Wow.
And I was like, what? What?
Wow.
I mean,
All right.
okay, we're talking 460 million, like up to 460 million budget. You can see all of those dollars.
Yeah.
Like every single one of those 460 million, you're like, yes, I see where it went.
Yeah, you really can. So it made its budget back.
This
You're
makes
talking about like marketing. It
yeah,
only cost
marketing.
the first Avatar. No, this Avatar just cost of the film itself was 250 million. So I feel like your
Really?
break even. Yeah, so I feel like your break even number is much.
Well,
But it
says
does
the
say here
budget.
Variety. That's an article in Variety, the one that you were referencing. Avatar
Okay.
2 needs 2 billion to turn a profit.
Okay.
James Cameron says. So interesting.
I don't know. We'll see how it goes. like the VFX on this thing make like we were raving about like Rings of Power. We said Rings of Power look beautiful. It makes Rings of Power look like a cartoon.
It makes everything look like a cartoon, to be honest.
It's like it makes Thanos look like
I
some sort
mean,
of
I can't
claymation.
I can't emphasize, like, already there's like we've clearly talked about there's a good story. Like, you say only 30 minutes, but
No,
I think,
I think
it's like
the story is very simple. I think there are certain elements that are very predictable. Like they have
simple but
four.
good. Like, simple's not necessarily
But I
like
do
saying something
think
is simple is
yes.
not necessarily saying it's a
No,
bad thing. But
I do
also,
think that
yeah,
it
sorry.
had enough depth. Like I think that the whole revenge plot is perhaps like that's really just the revenge plot is just like an excuse to get the to get to the action beats, etc. But I think that all of the
That's
character
another thing.
motivations and I think that all of the character depth that was very well handled. I like that.
I really appreciated that we didn't have an all-out war in this movie. Also, that it was just skirmishes, like little battles. It felt like I
Mm,
didn't like that's what kept the movie grounded at like this personal level, like you said earlier. Like, it
yes.
was a very like it didn't go over the top at the end like most movies today
Because
do.
at the end of this film, technically speaking, the Navi from the forest is still fine. The huge human settlement still fine. You know what I mean? All we got was a battle from like one fisherman and like a bunch of whales, right? Like and a few
Right.
people out on the islands. That's what
Right.
it was. So yeah, it is
Yeah, so
skirmish.
but I appreciated that. Like, I appreciate that, like, we didn't have an insane typical Hollywood, you know, like, what is Ruben, I don't know if he's still listening, but he likes to call it like disaster porn or whatever. Like, you didn't have just like,
We
like
were on the
these like
verge of it. Like
it came close, but
they
yeah.
made it grandiose, but
Well, our
yes, it was
friend
still smaller and grounded.
our friend PJ pointed out how like the ending was very similar to Titanic, also with the ship sinking and people stuck in the ship and like,
Yeah.
like all that stuff. So that was
Oh,
that was interesting. Yeah.
I have to comment on something that James Cameron said when the first Aquaman came out. This is how long this movie's been in production. When the first Aquaman came out, James Cameron was like, "That looks like shit." I'm paraphrasing here, but he says that looks like shit. That's not how you do water. I'm gonna show you how you do water.
He did.
Uh,
He
he did.
totally did. He
Fuck your
totally
Aquaman.
I swear.
This is how you do water.
Yeah, it's true. I
He
mean,
was
like
correct.
James Cam well, I have a feeling the secret again is that it
Maybe he
wasn't.
didn't say it exactly like that. Maybe he's got a little more respect, but no, he killed it. He did it right.
Yeah, the water was insane. People were not joking when they're saying like all the water scenes are insane. By the way, all those water scenes were shot in that extra frame rate. Um, what was it, 60 frames or something
I
like
didn't
that?
see it
So
in that super frame rate thing.
because he did a special technique where you could play it on regular projectors because he
Okay.
would double up the frames so that you could still have a. But
Okay.
it
So
did
it's
it
not like the Hobbit thing where people got sick.
right. It's different. It's like an improved version
Oh,
of that technology apparently. And he I think I saw this on I can't I watched a couple, like New Rock Stars, Ryan Airy, but I can't remember where. But I
couple
learned about the
breakdowns.
frame, yeah, the frame rate thing there. That was cool.
James Cameron is at this point just like say what you will about like the film or like, but he's advancing. Um, I guess the art form.
Well, he's part of this crew. Interestingly enough, he is part of this. Like, you don't think of him that much in that crew, but like, the George Lucas, Steven Spielberg, like, and then you have James Cameron. They were like the solid three people that were making like these big adventure films and then pushing film technology as well as special effects technology forward in the 90s and 2000s. And then James Cameron went off and did like ocean exploration films for a while and like was trying to bring the Titanic out of, I don't know what he was doing, but he was like doing a lot of like personal like things. And he appeared on Future Man, one of my favorite TV shows. That was a funny scene. I don't know if you watched that show when James Cameron came on it. But you were trying to
No.
watch that show, right? I don't remember if you were trying to
Future
watch that show
Man?
or not. Yeah, Future Man.
No, this is something that you talk about, I think, more than I care about.
But yeah, James Cameron, I feel like this is like him reminding everyone, yeah, I'm one of those cool kids that innovates film as well, not just George Lucas and Steven Spielberg and a couple of others here and there, JJ Abrams and whatever. So he is definitely one of those cool kids who pushes film technology, film making to new levels for sure. Like I feel
He
like
hasn't actually directed a film since Avatar.
yeah, that's true. I think.
And before then, it was Titanic, which was also the highest grossing movie of all time when it came out. So the man
maybe
just makes
highest
best
grossing
movies,
movies.
right?
Yeah, that's it. That's all he does. That's why he's like, oh, I can't. This movie has to be the highest grossing movie of all time. So.
I can't, you know.
but Yar. So yeah, that's my that's my reminder that James Cameron does push tech forward.
So I have something to ask you. The little yellow liquid that enables people to stay young forever indefinitely.
Yes, that is how I stay young forever.
Yeah, I knew that.
I need that whale brain
He
juice.
shows you the vial, and he says it's worth 80 million.
Yeah, this doesn't seem like a lot of money.
So I have a sentiment that originally it was worth 80 billion. And then someone was like, that's too unrealistic, or some other number. And so they brought it down. But now it doesn't make sense because the goddamn crab things and the subs and
for
the
sure
ships and
yeah,
everything, all
cost
of that,
80 million.
one mission costs a lot more. Like one sub costs 80 million. Right. So like just the time and the investment to go get that vial. Nah, I think it should have been 80 billion. I think it should have been something. Someone said that seems too much, not realistic. It was.
We're in the year 2164. They need to redub that line or make it like 500 million or just an astronomical number.
Because like the time, the investment, and the material that they use, and like all of the, I feel like no, it's not. It's
Plus,
not
it's
enough.
not easy to hunt that whale. That whale.
It isn't.
Like
it
costs 80 million just to go on the expedition.
Just
like
you know what I mean? Like those buoys. How much did they cost? Just like the spear.
Those are just like 10 million by themselves.
A pop, right? Like ridiculous.
It's true.
Dub the line. It's 80 billion. It's not 80 million. The thing, and it's what? It's a thing that like if
or
you
a billion. I would have been cool with like a billion or 2
billion, something like that. Yeah, that would be fine. Like you stay.
You can't drink it
forever.
Ever. Yeah, it halts aging. Completely halts it.
Nah,
you stay your age. You stay your age.
People are spending 80 million for the vial. No. Like
like how much do you need of that stuff to?
Is it a drop, or do you need to drink the whole thing, or do you need to inject the whole thing, or whatever it is? I don't know, but we don't know the technicalities of it all, right?
Right. And what are those humans like?
Are those the ones like running everything? We got to see Earth.
Also, like those humans that can afford this weird shit, like does it transform them? Can they breathe on Pandora? I wonder.
Oh my goodness. Do they become poets?
Oh my god. That was a bad joke.
You're laughing. You're loving it.
I was laughing.
No, the comment I was trying to make is 80 million didn't seem enough.
No,
I was like, nah, because then they drop the sub and then they have the crab thing, and I'm like,
yeah, there's
those cost more than 80 million each. You know what I mean?
I mean, like, especially a film that costs like 260 million. You're gonna tell me like,
the film itself made 450 million in its opening weekend. Why do that? Why just make a movie? Right,
exactly. So yeah, they need to revise that. Get your numbers right. That stuff is like, I did
so bad writing.
I also you said you want to meet like people of the desert, people of the winter worlds.
I think that would be interesting.
Northern worlds, but also I want to meet more of these sentient
yes, that would be very interesting.
Like that would be really cool. Like it would be really neat. Because so far, like in the first movie, animals pretty much act like animals, like for the most part. Like they have the bond with you where they also, how weird You have to go
Well,
inside this thing's mouth to like
yeah,
connect
that
with
was a
it.
bit.
Like,
I don't know. But no,
but I
no,
did
you're right. You're
like
correct. The animals in the first one are very animalistic, and like in this film, you see it because we have Blue Team, right? They're clearly military. They're clearly, avatars, I guess. But the dog things from the forest, they look at them, they're like, and they walk away. So okay, he's a moron. He's clearly a dog. This thing, right?
right.
Whereas I don't feel like the whales there, they they would
They
have
would know.
completely understood.
The other thing I really liked was the Navi pattern, or the pattern inside the whale that you see light up. It resembles a
Mm,
lot of and also the tattoos that the whales had. It
yeah.
resembled the Pacific Northwest styling of that native art, kind of, which I really love. A lot of people use that art style for tattoos, like and stuff like that. So they're on totems a lot of times. You'll see the artwork, but you see
Okay.
illustrations of whales with that artwork, and that's what it reminded me of. So that was a cool nod to that as well, which was really cool. What's up with? I guess we haven't really talked about. We talked about Sigourney Weaver's character, but what is her connection? What's the deal? Like, was Sigourney Weaver's avatar impregnated by Pandora itself? And if that's the case, like, what is she? Is she like is she going to be the key? That changes my mind a little bit about the humans being able to take over Pandora, because I forgot about her character's special ability. She seems to have greater ability and connection to the
Hmm.
network, to Pandora, than everyone else. I mean, she's like able to like control where the fish version of those floaty
Yeah.
thingies go. And at one point, doesn't she do something like pretty crazy also, like,
Well, when she's sleeping, she has like waves of energy, basically like exiting her.
oh,
Um,
right, just like the tree does.
yeah, I think she's Mother Nature. I don't know.
Or Owe, or whatever the name of the
Yeah,
deity is. Yeah.
I do feel like so either he knows where he's going with this, or I'm assuming he does. But it did feel like James Cameron's kind of like making up his own rules now and then with a couple of these things because it was kind of like they needed a way to get them out of the shipwreck at the end, and so that was kind of pretty convenient. So you give her powers, but I
She did
can't.
do it earlier though. That's why. Like, she did something earlier where she like did it made sense to me that she could do that. But sorry, go
Oh
on.
yeah, no, it makes
Yeah.
sense. It's just I can't see it as being random. Like he has to
Right.
be going somewhere with this specific thing. I just don't know what it is yet, and I think the mystery is intriguing. Like I said, like she's her and Spider are my favorite characters from this film. So yeah, I want to know where they're going with it. I do think that she's somehow. I think maybe the planet created its own avatar
That's right.
because the planet needs to protect itself, but it knows that like its indigenous population won't be able to if humanity really wants to like come down with full force. So the planet created its own avatar in seeing the good that wasn't Sigourney Weaver's character, and she will become the
Well, yeah, the planet has its own
symbol or emblem of
the planet has a consciousness of its own that's connected to the consciousness of every living thing on the
yeah.
planet, which is pretty much probably how it works on Earth, but we're just not as aware of it as the Pandorans
You think we're
are.
not doing enough to get that?
I think there's something, because
If I could
mycologists,
connect myself to a tree
like
and then and then
mycologists,
and then talk to you, that would be pretty cool.
you might be doing something like that, but mycologists have shown that the networks that are created by mushrooms on our planet, like by mycelia, rather, I should say,
Mhm.
are insanely extensive, and they do work like neurons. So like
Mm.
one end of the network knows what the other end of the network is doing. Like it like manages and stuff like that. So
Yeah, it
it
takes
it
it takes resources from one tree to feed
right.
another so that
There's
the tree doesn't
nothing
die.
there's nothing as profound as Pandora. Like we don't have little connector things to, to like connect to the planet or anything
I
like
think
that.
it's a
But
different interpretation of empathy. We have empathy on like a very emotional level. Like I can feel like if you're sad, I can see that you're sad. I have all of these visual cues, auditory, like sensory cues, whereas they have more of a literal connective way.
they have the same things that we do in terms of those facial and visual things, but yeah, it's on a whole different level because they also are, but they're also able to be. I kind of love it because you can connect when you want to, but you can also be an individual when you want to as well,
Mm.
which is interesting. But you
I
do
don't. I
connect.
don't want one of those things though. I don't. I
It
don't want
creeps
to
you out.
be.
The little
Yeah, I don't know.
thing creeps you out.
Connecting with just like random things all the time. I don't know.
How would you want to connect? Just touch things. That's it.
I
Like
probably wouldn't connect too much. Although it seems like if you connect with one of them sea creatures, you don't need to breathe underwater. Like you're using their breathing, basically. Is that how it works?
No, I don't think that's how it works, but maybe it enhances you because I do feel like they turn into like they're very connect. Yeah, maybe it enhances you, but I don't know if you
Because I
get
feel
the
like they stay
breathing.
underwater longer once they're connected to the thingies. I don't know.
I don't
I don't know.
remember taking note of that, but it's possible. That was like not one of the things I noticed. But where I was going with that, I guess, is that the other thing about the Pandora experience or the Avatar films is that one thing that I was very happy with is that it did stick with that message of like, even though this is totally alien and bonkers and weird and different, that actually it's not too different from a lot of the things that we have here on Earth that we don't really appreciate, or like the films did still have a very environmental kind of touch to them. And it's interesting that it's really interesting that humans tend to empathize with whales the most. Like it feels like all these movies, whenever you want to do like there's always like a whale nowadays, like a cetacean of some kind, like star whales or
It's
things like
such
that.
it's such a graceful and kind of like innocent
Yeah,
animal, but
animal.
it's also a very intelligent one
Mhm.
that we can kind of connect with. Like you won't be able to pull that off with like an ant. You know what I mean? Or like a lizard.
Have you
You know what I
seen the
mean?
movie Ants? Have you seen the movie Ants?
I have. It's a great film.
That made me.
Fantastic,
I never squash
fantastic
ants
film.
after that. After that movie, I don't squash ants anymore.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
I will like gently shoo them away, and
You
then
shoo them
I
away.
shoo them away, and they'll go away.
I'm a dreadful person. I capture
You
flies just to feed my spiders.
you have spiders?
I keep a couple.
Oh, like wild spiders in your house, and you capture
Yeah.
flies just.
I don't have a million spiders, but I
You
have
have
like
Pandora,
I have like two
Pandora in your house.
spiders. But apparently it's sign of a healthy house. I
Yeah,
think that's what
spiders are
people
great. Spiders are great, but everything in balance, right? Like if you have too many spiders, it's
No, I don't want too
arachnophobia.
many spiders. I just have two spiders. And it's
We've clearly
fascinating for daughter on the tube. She can look at the spiders and she says good night to the spider. And
Oh, we've clearly jumped the shark on this discussion. I feel like we talked about, if we're talking about your household spiders now, I think it's time to give
okay,
this.
so I want to talk
I think
about
it's time to give it a
no,
rating. Okay,
unless
not
you
yet.
need
You're
to
like,
leave.
no.
No,
Okay.
I want to talk about the two brothers. I knew that one of them was gonna die. The moment they told us that they were two brothers, I was like, this is redundant. They're not the same character at all. Um, what's going on?
Do you have a sibling?
Yes.
Are they redundant?
No.
Shit.
We're also not tools
Right,
in the plot of a film.
right, but still, maybe you are in the plot of the film of life. I
Perhaps.
don't know.
Don't kill me, James Cameron.
You're
I guess I am the older brother, so yeah, kill me, eh?
You're
Um,
redundant. You're the redundant one.
no, when I
The
saw that
younger
they
one
had
has more life to give. So yeah, you are the redundant one.
when I saw that they had two brothers, and they're not the same character. They did a good job, but like everyone is a very distinct kind of like unique personality, and I think everyone is their own character. But I was like, there has to be some sort of sacrifice, and I thought Jake's gonna die, so father's gonna die, and I said one of them brothers is gonna die. They didn't kill Jake, which I was surprised by, to be honest. But they killed one of the brothers.
Jake's gonna die in part 4. 3 or 4. Part 3 or part 4.
How many is there's supposed to be 5? Is that right?
Yeah, I think they want 5.
Okay, so you think he's gonna die sometime? I really thought that he would die here, and then the son would take
Actually,
over.
Jake and Neytiri are gonna go out together. It's gonna be like a
Really?
Romeo and Juliet thing. That's my prediction.
So I appreciated the fact that they left the forest. I think he did what Superman failed to do in Man of Steel. He took it upon himself to actually leave and stop putting people in danger. You know what I mean? But
yeah,
then
actually, at first I didn't respect that decision, but by the end of the movie, I actually did think it was the right decision.
But then I was also like, he knew he was being very hypocritical when he came to like the people of the water, and like she said, "You're bringing your war," and he's like, "I don't want war. I'm just hiding." I'm like, bro, they're coming after you.
They're coming, and then a lot of people suffered. Fortunately, ironically, no one died. But yeah, those soldiers definitely like burned villages and shit. Like, it was pretty.
And that was that's a dreadful decision. You might as well kill them, like, because if you're burning their villages, you're making them unite against you, right? All of these separated little clans. Yeah, that was stupid.
I think Jake was foolish to think that, but at the same time, I wish they had done a scene where they struggled to come to that decision. It all felt like they knew that they were going to go off to these water people, and they'd be just all it'll be all like that's the solution. But I don't feel like I got it. We did get Neytiri like objecting to it, of course, and stuff like that. But I feel like she didn't really like they didn't talk about why they were going to go to the water as much. Like, why? Maybe it had a defensive, you know what I mean? Like, maybe there was a defensive reason. Maybe because the water people are more,
it's remote,
isolated, or it's more.
That's remote. What I got. It was like isolated. It's remote.
Yeah,
it's
but like
far.
Everyone knew it is remote. It's further, but eventually. But going back to your logic, like Jake should know that the humans are not. He's said it in the first movie.
They're scanning, right? They got sensors.
Well, not just that. The sky people. He said, what did he say in the first movie? Like, they're gonna come no matter what. Like, they're coming, right? Like,
yeah.
So I would have appreciated just like a line of like, well, we can't stay with them forever either, but we'll go there for now. We'll go there for now and recoup there, and then figure out what our next, because they're gonna have to be. My thing is they're gonna have to be on the run all the time. Like, maybe what I mean. Like, because so yeah, I agree with that.
I would have also appreciated them going to like a first place that rejects them.
Oh yeah.
So like the village that we see get burnt, for example.
Oh yeah, you just want to make that village pay.
No, I'm just giving an example.
You're right. Yeah,
it costs $600 million just to put a village on screen. So if you already have one, then use it. You know what I mean? It's like you got to think about your dollars here. No, but I mean, no, I would have liked it if they had gone to at least one place, but a couple places where they're like, no, we fish, we weave, we dance, we have fun. We don't want anything to do with you. You know what I mean? And it's like, okay, fine. And then they eventually find this place where they have like, okay, you know what? We're going to take him in because he is a great leader, and he helped fight the war against the Sky People, and he's renowned.
Right.
Yeah. There was so much teenage stuff going on, and I thought that I would get very annoyed with it very quickly, but it was very well handled. I liked it.
Yeah, it was well handled, and I guess again it's because of Neytiri. You were talking about the brothers, and knowing one of the brothers were gonna die. I actually wasn't. I didn't think that at all, and I didn't even think Jake was gonna die. I didn't get that like feeling that one of the main characters was gonna die. But I will say that I don't even remember the older brother's name. Like I don't think he like resonated enough as a character for me to feel too much about his death.
Okay.
Like what was the
Okay.
older brother's name?
I don't know. I can look. I have an internet page open that can tell me, but otherwise I don't know.
Right.
Nataeum?
Nataeum, there you go. But we did know Loak's name and we did know Natiri's name because those
Boom.
characters kind of stood out, you know? So yeah, poor Nataeum, or yeah, whatever. He didn't really get a lot of stuff. Like, and it seemed like he was always giving in to his little brother's wishes too, which is a little funny, you know, like I guess he was trying to protect his little brother, but didn't his little brother always convince him to get into fights and stuff like that? It was like, right? Like Loak was kind
Well,
of like a
yeah, one of them definitely had more drive than the other, I guess. Like more
like
will.
Loak, like Taeum had to come and rescue Loak in that one, you know, in that one scene where they're
But
picking on
there
Natiri.
have been. It's not unheard of to have like sibling, because you would often think of my default is to think that the older brother is kind of the one that's in charge, so to speak.
Well,
Or
that's who
bolder or
usually
bolder.
parents
Yeah,
usually put the older person in charge, and
but
that
that,
seems like
like
what they were doing in this movie. They were definitely putting him in
we're
charge.
watching Peaky Blinders at the moment, and you know Peaky Blinders, the main character is the younger brother. Like the older brother is not the one that's in charge of the family, right? So that dynamic, does exist. But yeah, I agree. I don't think we spent as much time or went as in depth with this older brother than the younger one. But the younger one was clearly being set up to be like he's going to be the next Jake. Like in the next film, I'm assuming that he's going to be like really leading, and Jake's going to be taking a step back.
Yeah, he'll be the whale rider. Maybe the whales can fly.
Have you seen the Whale Rider?
No, actually, I haven't seen that movie. I just referenced it because
I'm looking at this thing, and it's Wales, and it's New Zealand, and it's Jermaine Clement, and I'm like, it's the Whale
Clement.
Rider.
It's not Jermaine Clement.
Clement, maybe. I don't know.
Clement.
It sounded
So
French.
fancy.
Jermaine.
Jermaine.
What's your name?
Jermaine.
No, it's probably Jermaine Clement because he's from New Zealand. But no, I got Whale Rider vibes from it. Great movie, by the way. Bit of book.
I got to see that movie now. Yeah, or
read the book. Apparently, the book is better than the film, but the film is good. Yeah, but the film is good. Good performances. A New Zealand classic.
Very cool.
Yeah. So that's all of that. Let's pull this up because as is tradition.
I think we touched on everything, right? The only thing we didn't really talk about was the general lady, but whatever. She wasn't,
the what?
She wasn't the lady, the lady in charge, the general.
Oh, yeah.
Who superfluously drinks her coffee with the robot arm. It's like you have to move your hand right up to your face anyways. Just use your hand. I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah. No, I didn't really care about her. Like she was very much just there to, be
She was
there.
like the general guy in the first movie. Like
yeah, but
like,
she'll have unless they decide to change the actor and go for a different character. The person in her position will have more of a bigger role, I think, in the following films. Once we see. Yeah. I will say though, and I said this, I was like, they industrialized that shit in like a year. That was an amazing accomplishment. It looks like ass. It's disgusting. But
it's the year 2100. They better be. I mean, today we can manufacture a house in like less than 3 months.
They were 3D printing buildings. That was pretty cool. And they had the little scarab things running around. It's like, okay, like I can, it's a shame they don't make it look nice. At least make the buildings look nice. You just make them this gray.
That comes later. That comes later when you.
That comes later. Once you've terraformed the place and like killed all the indigenous populations, that's what comes later. Then you're like, oh, let's pretty the place up. You know what I mean? Dreadful sky people. Boom. There it is. People of the audience, person of the one person of the audience left.
Oh, we
What do
actually
you
have a
think?
viewer?
Yeah, we had two throughout the
Just
whole show.
kidding. This
Um,
movie gets a great.
okay. Really?
I think you're gonna give it a good. I'm gonna give it an, or you're gonna give it a good or an all right, but I'm gonna give it a great. It doesn't get true greatness, unfortunately, but neither did the first Avatar. I
So
think they're just both.
tell me why it doesn't get a true greatness.
Well, I'd have to compare it to a movie that I gave a true greatness rating to before, so I don't really know. But just in particular for this film,
Yeah.
it doesn't get a true greatness because it's part 2 of 5. So for me, I have to see the whole saga before I can come back and retcon.
That's not true.
the
It's
thing. No, okay.
it's because it needs a little more plot, right?
Yeah, no, it did need a little more. Maybe not plot, but I think which we didn't touch on in great detail. But if we did start nitpicking a little bit about little things here and there, and it does open up to like larger plot holes. But that's what nitpicks tend to do. But overall, I just think you're right. Like, like the fact that I didn't care about the brother as much, and he was a big deal because he died. Like, his death should have. I felt like I personally felt like
maybe
it should have been more,
a little more to bite into.
right. And I think we could have seen a little bit more of the Natiri character having more than just screaming and being upset.
Yeah,
all the time.
I will agree with that. I think there's more to get out of that character than just being a grump, basically.
Right. And Jake is kind of like, he's just like, he's the grunt, right? Like, and that's fine. And we get plenty of that, we get plenty of action with him and stuff like that. But I think Natiri could have had a lot more to do in the film. And I almost expected her to, and that was like weird that we didn't. And then on that note, Kate Winslet's character, although had great moments and awesome performance, I also felt there was like something missing from, it just felt like they shifted the,
it was all on the youngins.
On the youngins, but a little too much. Like I left the film desiring more of the previous characters.
Did the runtime bother you in any way?
I've only seen it once, and I'll say this: like the only time it bothered me is that I had to go to the bathroom so bad that I missed probably 6 minutes of the film.
Oh my
because
goodness.
I couldn't.
How can you even review it?
Right, no, I know. It's like there's a whole missing chunk from 3 hours. But no, but 6 minutes. So that's the only thing, is that this is like a universal complaint. It's not just a complaint on Avatar, but it's like, if your movie's over 2.5 hours, let's start putting intermissions.
And bring them back.
Yeah, like they're super useful. And
I like that. It's Disney. They would just give you ads for the next Marvel film.
4-hour movies is nothing new. Like Hollywood's been doing it for ages, but they always put an intermission in, and it's helpful actually. You not only do you want to go to the bathroom, but maybe you want some popcorn or something like that. That's what the movie theaters want, right? They want to sell more of that.
It's actually stuff, so. It could you can use it to your advantage, creatively. Actually, you can really make it into two separate kind of chapters in the film.
Right. So exactly. So I just felt like there's a lot of movies that are suffering from this whole come on, just put one intermission in there, something like a 10-minute break. No one's gonna feel oh yeah, it cut the movie up, so I ruined it.
I was fine with the runtime. There was one scene that I found a little long, and I think it's when all the teens there's a chase going on, and all the teens are going through the huge leaves, and then they're hiding, in those leaves, that kind of stuff. I felt like that was maybe a little long, but otherwise, no. It's interesting because it's 3 hours. You can feel that it's 3 hours, much like, say, Lord of the Rings. You can feel that it's 3 hours. It doesn't go by fast necessarily, but there's a lot to take in, and every scene really does offer something new. I felt like every time we changed and every time we went to a new scene, it recaptured my interest.
Yeah. The film felt large. It felt like a big film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're correct I give it a good.
Wow.
So it ain't great, but it's good. It's a great technological accomplishment. That's what it is. Or it's
Interesting.
perhaps true greatness in terms of like VFX, right? Like this is
Yeah, you can't.
there's
The
nothing
effects
better at the
get
moment.
the effects get the top of the charts, rating or whatever. But yeah, overall the film good and great. Hey, that's not bad. Those are high.
That's high
Those are
praise.
high praises. Yeah, high ratings. Very cool. Audience, let us know in the comments, or I guess if you're still in the chat, let us know what you thought of the film.
So my video is called "Is Avatar Really the Next Big Thing?" That was the previous one. So I posed this
Yes,
question to you: Is Avatar really the next big thing?
it really is. Especially, I have to say, especially now that like you reminded me
Mr.
that like
Cameron.
yeah, well, there, and it kind of makes me happy because I do think we need a break from the MCU to be like it can't just be constant. No, but you know what I'm saying? Like we
Even the
can't.
MCU wants a break from the MCU. Disney
The,
said they're gonna
it's
settle
true.
down with it.
The biggest films can't just be superhero films. You know what I mean? Like,
Well, they had their moment. It was fun.
it was super fun, and it's still going on. But it's a nice break to get something that doesn't have like
I got the trailer to Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, and I got the trailer to Guardians of the Galaxy 3. And I kid you not, if you take out like the fact that there's Ant-Man and like the Guardian characters, which we know, if you take out those characters, it's the same movie. It looks like the same trailer. They have the same music. It's the same VFX. It's the same thing.
Wow.
And I say this like someone that doesn't know or care about the MCU. You show them the trailers, they would be like, "I don't. Is this a different movie? I don't know." So I think they've reached a certain point with the MCU where this is a breath of fresh air.
A drink of fresh water.
A drink of fresh water. I feel frustrated that
crystal clear CG water that doesn't.
I feel frustrated that the first one doesn't have a subtitle now because the second one is called "The Way of the Water," and I want the first one to be called something.
Well, like The Way of the Trees. Come on, let's just enjoy subtitle.
I don't know. I
A lot
want to retcon the other one. A
lot of first movies don't have a subtitle. Star Trek: The Motion Picture is not the subtitle.
It still is one.
Yeah, but it's just Star Trek.
Pirates did it well. Pirates did Pirates of the Caribbean, The Curse of the Black Pearl, and then they went on Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Man's Chest, right, etc.
I don't remember the names, but
what
yeah,
I don't remember the names.
By the way, when you asked
World's
for a Black
End.
Pearl, when you asked for a Black Pearl, did you mean like
I deleted the tweet because no one cares.
I know I didn't even like it because I didn't care. But was it a pearl
I
that
want
you
the
wanted,
ship.
or like was?
I
you want the ship?
I'm gonna go see someone one day who handcrafts vessels. You know what I mean? They make them, and I'm gonna commission. I'm gonna pay you thousands of dollars. I don't care how much you need because these people they.
This is how you make movies like Avatar that need $2 billion for a return because you're like, oh, I don't care how much you need. Like here,
I want a black.
All.
My dream is to have a black pearl sitting somewhere in my office. All right, but I don't want no Lego black pearl. I want like.
Oh, is that the only way you can get a black pearl right now? Is the Lego one?
I don't think you can even get one. I don't think there's like any way.
I think you should build it. Sean. Buck Admiral on Twitter might build it for you.
I don't. Who is that?
For a lot of money. He's Bill Krause, and he's Bill Krause, and he's a great model builder, and he's the one who designed the new Titan in Picard season 3. That's his personal design for that class of ship. Anyways, I gotta get going. I just realized.
Okay, no worries. Thank you so much for joining me, everyone. Thank you so much for watching this on the rewatch, on the replay, and on the lives. Hit the like button, share this around. ABTG is not the biggest of channels, but it's our little side channel where we.
But I love this channel. It's such a good channel.
I do too. I think it's a great channel. If I have more time, I will invest more time into it. Yeah. Boom. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining me. Thank you, James Cameron,
we
for making this
see you.
film. We see
We
you, James
see
Cameron.
you.
We see you, Avatar.
We see you, Avatar.
I'm intrigued to see where this goes, and I'll say this. Okay.
You got Sean hype. He
as a
sees
final-
where you're going.
as a final little both compliment and both complaint here, I am a little disappointed that we had yet another film on the same planet with the same people.
Oh, you want to go off Pandora?
I want to go off world. I want to explore more that this universe has to offer. But what you did offer was good. I had a great time exploring these new people. We went on another journey of discovery of the people, and it wasn't boring or anything. Like, we did it again, and it was great. So yeah, I'm happy, and I'm excited to see the future of this franchise. If it can carry on, I want to see where it goes. So yeah,
the only other planet we're gonna see maybe is Earth. That's it.
That's good enough. I'd like to see Earth.
All right,
you know what? I disagree with Mariner. Earth counts.
Nice.
All right. See you, everyone.
Wait.